Today we will be talking about line and shape. The first line keywords that we will look at is outline and contour line. The differences between these are that if you had a flat object, so if you're imagining this leaf, the outline is going all the way around the outside edge of this photograph of a leaf, whereas the contour line is going to pick up the lines that happen inside the leaf that make up the negative and positive space. The next line keywords are implied line and defined line. The defined line is viewed here on the left, where you are simply outlining the shape of the apple with a hard line. You can see that, and it is making the object pop out into space. Whereas implied line on the right hand side is not using an outline for this apple at all. In fact, you are imagining that there is a line there because of the shading that has been applied to it. Next, we will look at line qualities. Line qualities can be viewed down here on the bottom right of this picture that I've attached in the slide. These line qualities can be loose, free, or gestural, or they can be logical, rational, or contrasting. These should not be confused with line textures, which you can view on the top of this sheet that I have posted in this slide. Line textures can be emulated through the product that you are using to make the line, i.e. a pencil, a marker, highlighter, anything like that could be examples of different line textures. Next, we will talk about linear orientation. Examples are horizontal and vertical, grid-like, well-organized, diagonal, unstable, and dynamic. This is really when line and shape start to come together in a composition. I've posted some images on the right here of a vertical composition, and you can really just see that all of the lines are pointing straight up and down throughout the image, the background and the foreground matching. Whereas on the left down here, it would be an example of a dynamic composition where you can draw definite lines from the bottom left to the top right, or the bottom right to the top left, but they're all overlapping each other very sporadically. Next is just some basic shapes. When we're starting to talk about non-objective and abstract paintings, which we will touch on next week, talking about basic shapes will definitely help us in the end. So I've posted just an image of some basic shapes, and maybe refresh yourself before you fill out the worksheet. I know these are really basic, but you can also start exploring really complex shapes that will then in turn help you describe work more effectively. The last thing that we will touch on is positive and negative shape or space. You can see that the negative space is represented by the white color and the positive space is represented by the black color. In this composition, you can't necessarily see any of the details in the chairs, but you can tell that they are chairs because of the way that this space is interacting with each other. If you were starting to move the black space around or the black color around and kind of diluting this image, you would not be able to tell that these are chairs. So that is what makes the idea of positive and negative space or shape so important, is the way that they interact with each other to complete a picture or an image.